At the SKM Center early morning, Odinga and his co-principals gathered where they were taken through the recommendations close by close before addressing the parliamentary group meeting later in the afternoon. At the PG, Kalonzo was pressed to explain to the Azimio legislators why he could not seek a further extension of the working days until the cost of living impasse is addressed. Kalonzo argued that it was difficult given that Parliament had already given an extension of 30 days.
The document the team has come up with is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning.
After a back and forth, Azimio informed the media that the coalition had chosen to disagree with the recommendations of the report on matters cost of living.
We completely disagree with the government on the matter of cost of living. We made it clear that we will support the document ensuing from the talks, but we will treat the hard line on the cost of living at the beginning of another phase of this struggle.
Raila claims that Kenya Kwanza leaders are key beneficiaries of some policies that have driven up the high cost of living, explaining why they have shunned meaningful conversations on the subject.
The whole issue of cost of living is extremely sensitive in the Kenya Kwanza circles because it is a gravy train on which many corrupt interests have converged. Cost of living cannot come down because the key people in the government are eating from it.
Azimio argues that the Kenya Kwanza government is using the housing levy to build a financial muscle for the 2027 campaign.
But the housing levy, which even the courts have now found to be unconstitutional, cannot be scrapped because it is a gravy train. It is from this levy that the Kenya Kwanza hopes to build a campaign war chest for the next election. They forget that they may not get there.
Odinga called out the courts to sanity for allowing an extension of an illegality on its ruling on matters housing levy.
The matter still remains unconstitutional, and therefore I would urge all the employers to immediately stop paying anything, because you'll be acting unconstitutionally.
Sources private to the closed-door meeting told K24 TV that most of the legislators rejected recommendations on the cost of living and called for a return to the streets. Odinga, through his current countrywide activities, is said to be building a momentum towards the same, culminating in a rally at Kamkunji grounds where he will announce a return to the streets.
Other ways will include, but will not be limited to, consultations with the people. At all times, we will retain the right to call on the people to take steps that we deem necessary to force the government to lower the cost of living.
Azimio has also made it clear that whereas they support the creation of the Prime Minister's office and the office of the official leader of opposition, it must be channeled through a referendum.
To create the office of the leader of opposition or to formalize the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the people of Kenya have to have their say by way of a referendum.
He argues that anything contrary to a referendum will subject the process to a litigation which will see the process suffer the fate of the controversial Building Bridges initiative.
Besides, it is a constitutional requirement that such significant restructuring of government must go through a referendum to avoid the mischief that may be played by some people going to court. It is also our stand that this country cannot continue moving forward by being undecided. We have to agree whether we want a parliamentary, presidential system or a hybrid system.
The coalition, however, agreed on the recommendations touching on the auditing of the 2022 elections. The coalition also backed the extension of days the Supreme Court is mandated to hear a presidential petition. The coalition is set to pitch tent in Matu in Machakos County on Thursday. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.